Hello, hello, welcome to Season 5 of How to Play D&D, the explainer podcast with one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. I'm saying this very fast. My name is Connor Kinsey, and my illustrious guest this week is Abby from Tabletop Curiosities. Hello, Abby, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I usually ask how your week has been, but if you're listening to this podcast, this is about 3 or 4 episodes ahead of the last time you heard Abby on the podcast, but we've recorded at the same time, so I'm not going to put you through how your week has been twice when it's like, yeah, I've had a great time, and then the next time it's like, I've had a breakdown. What am I doing with my life? Or is that just me? So
Well, that's about right.
yeah. That's why we play. That's why we play D&D. Yeah. All right. So this season we're doing things slightly different. Our guests have selected an enemy from a list that I've supplied, and they're going to educate us as to why we should use these creatures. And of course, I will interrogate. What's this week's creature?
Vampires.
Let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is on vampires. Vampires, the one fictional creature that even the bad Germans thought were too sexy to criminalize. Abby, every country I visit, I do a little wee with intention as I step off the plane. What am I doing?
I think you're just starting a good omen for your
Yeah,
trip. You know, there's them superstitions, what foot to come out. I think a
yeah.
little bit away, you're
Red
just setting
chalk.
yourself up for a good time.
Yeah, like voodoo stuff, red chalk outside the house,
Yep.
bad spirits, clove of garlic round your neck at interviews. Have a little wee when you when you arrive in a different foreign country. Yeah, and do you know what? I've never had a bad holiday, so it's clearly working.
There you go. There you go.
Over at like at this point 90 to 100 episodes, I think this is the first one where the unhinged question is real. So just keep that use that with what you will. So all right, so let's get into the questions. Why did you pick vampires?
So, Curse of Strahd was my first module that I ran as a DM. The
Oh, okay.
campaign went on with my best friends, my husband, for years.
Yeah.
And it's actually still going on in some sense.
Wow, okay.
We've gone beyond the module, of course, and are now in
Yeah.
like a crazy additional world. But Strahd was my first big villain that was my guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned all about vampires and the complexity, not only of Strahd, of just vampires in general. It's just really fun, can really build a basis for a campaign. The stat block itself is just full of just juice,
Yeah.
just so much you can use.
There is mad amounts. The first time I played Curse of Strahd, there were, I mean, I don't know if it's in the module because I wasn't running it, but we went into this kind of like abandoned house that had barrels upstairs. And my character was like this kind of like he thinks he's comes from gods. He's a very arrogant guy with no charisma. So I know that I'm actually very weak. I can't fight. But the character's personality is like, well, I'm going first, and I knew I was going to die. And I went into these barrels, checked the barrels, and they were like vampire fledglings or spawn, and like,
Um,
absolutely annihilated me immediately at level 3. And I was just like, I have no idea it was going to be that. And then when I looked up the stat block after, I was like, holy shit, these are like the lowest level vampires, and they are really good. You know, the Strahd is such a good module. I mean, for most people I've interviewed on this podcast, Strahd is the module. Like it's the one you go to. One of the last ones to DM though, because it's supposedly really hard to DM. So fair play, fair play.
Yeah, it was my first one. So I've got no context for that really.
Yeah,
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And just it probably was more challenging than necessary. And that part that you're talking about, I know it well because
oh, so it is real. It is
everybody
in the
it is
yeah,
real and everybody experiences at least one horrific situation because
yeah,
yeah, they are hardcore, but that's my style of D&D. I like it to hurt just a little.
yeah. Nice. I love that. I love that. What kind of stats does a vampire have?
Well, if we're talking full vampire,
Okay.
they are pretty big boys.
Mm.
Just in general, I think I'm just going to look up the hit points. I'm not even going to pretend that I know them.
No, that's understand. There's a range, right? There's a whole range of. It's not one creature.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Spawn are a little less. They're, under 100 hit points, but can still pack a punch. Whereas a full vampire, full-fledged guy, 144 hit points.
Yeah.
Um, and the stats in general are just quite good. They're just that little bit, I think, above your average. Like
Mm.
he's got strong dex, strong strength, strong charisma, strong constitution, wisdom,
Yeah.
and intelligence. Also not too bad.
Yeah.
So when
And
you're
it's
talking saving throws, they're all right. It's
Yeah,
pretty
which is
strong
hard,
guy.
right? Because when you're a low level, if you do come across them, and you do come across them at a low level in Strahd, unless the DM's like whisking you in it at like level 5 or 6, as still as a group, um, you are gonna try and do like contested saves to like not just outright fight these things, but to like hold them down, pin them down, like
Mm.
think about it in a different like way rather than just fight, you know? And when they're already good at that as well, that makes it way more alarming for a player, but way more fun. It's not just it's me, then
Yeah.
it's you, then it's me. Like you're actually like this is literally make or break.
And it's like a bit of a puzzle with a vampire as
Yeah,
well. Like, as you say, you need to think beyond just, I'm going to go in and smack it because
yeah,
they're perfectly strong themselves. They also bite you,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
which is
depending on
ridiculous.
how friendly your DM is, you don't know what the consequences of that bite's going to be.
Yeah,
So
100%.
it's
Yeah,
about getting into the lore of the vampire before you're fighting it. You want to get as much information from the stat block as you can from the DM, and I think
mm,
that's quite rare,
yeah,
because you've got the lore of the shape changer. They can't be in running water. They regenerate unless they take radiant damage. So
mm,
these are all little tidbits that your party can find out along the way to just
yeah.
build that mystique and excitement about the big fight.
Yeah, it's like, it's like you said, it's probably one of the only creatures I could think of, and like you just said, where kind of like leaking a bit of that information about what the creature can do over time would be really helpful if you've never faced one before. Whereas other creatures, the surprise, like the mimic episode we did, like the element of surprise is exactly it, right? That's what you're doing, and you don't really need to know what else it does. As long as it does that one gimmick,
Mm,
it's fun. And with the vampire, you actually have to be tactical, so it's kind of nice that you can offer those up in passing word, little side quests, things like this that they find to work out what these are capable of doing. Um,
definitely.
so I know it's not on there as a question, but with the Curse of Strahd, then, Vamp. I mean, why do you think it's such a popular module? Do you think it's because of Strahd? He's such a good, like, like enigmatic character, or do you think it's like vampires, like we said in the previous episode with the mimics, are just like all over the world culturally, well, known in every culture through history, even though they're fictional. Do you think that's why people are drawn to like use vampires in their sessions?
Yeah, I think it's just that classic, isn't it? Like everybody knows what you're getting from a kind of vampire situation.
Mm,
The setting is going to have that like spooky, ooky kind of feel. And
yeah,
like Strahd, especially, it's got the mists and all of that kind of thing that
yeah.
really adds into that gothic horror, which I love.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a famous classic, isn't it? And
it
everyone
really
has
is.
their own lore here and there from different cultures. There's so much interesting things to talk about. So to then translate that into what that means in my fantasy D&D world is
Mm.
always brings up fun intrigue for the parties.
Yeah, you've got a lot to take from, right? And the chances of them just knowing the one kind of perspective you have on a vampire is unlikely because you could find it anywhere and like add that twist to it. And they're like, holy shit, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. And
Um,
I think it's about the charisma as well for a vampire.
yes.
They're always charismatic, which adds that extra layer of they play with their food a little. They
Mm.
give you a lot to play with as a DM. To
Yeah, they're
just
like really good
tease.
role play. Even for the players, like when I played Curse of Strahd, I'd played like Lost Minds before that as the starter with the same player, and the players were like rusty. I mean, I was literally a first time player playing that, so we were all like into role play, but not very good at it, and not knowing how much you want to say more than just listen to learn
Mm,
things. And with Strahd, like with that module vampires being charismatic, like you want to get involved and you want to talk to everyone and work out who they are and like they're such good like starter role play material like to get people involved, because they're not like a goblin you go, I'd rather hit it than talk to it. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? If for like new
yeah,
characters, new players, it's a perfect kind of like balance.
yeah.
All right, can you give an example of when you used or encountered one then? So obviously you've run Curse of Strahd. What's like a great encounter?
I think everyone who's played Curse of Strahd will probably know this bit as well, but you can't not give it a shout out. The dinner with Strahd, when you
Right.
are invited to Ravenloft for the first time and sat down, and yeah, again, you get that charisma moment. You get his kind of own building of his character, and why he's a vampire, and it just allows that extra layer because all the party are fully in that dinner knowing I'm going to kill you, like
Yeah,
bruv,
yeah,
I'm going to get you, but
yeah,
they know they have to play first.
yeah,
And then from there, I think most DMs, you kind of let them explore the castle, so you go and find more weird vampire stuff.
mm,
How does a vampire live? He's been
yeah,
alive centuries. What's he get up to on the day to day? Yeah. So it's not even a combat encounter because they are always awesome anyway. There's
yeah,
always a cleric with some sunlight or something awesome, awesome big epic moments can be had. But
yeah.
yeah, it's all about the role play for me with vampires.
And that scene there in the dinner party, like I said, is not combat. The players know what they're getting into, what they plan to do. Strahd is obviously ridiculously smart. The DM is obviously running the whole world that is in.
Trying to be
So
smart.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I was giving you benefit of the doubt, but but like the DM knows what the players want to do, but they know they've got to hold out, and then they're obviously role playing as Strahd, and Strahd knows what the players want, but Strahd has other intentions, right? So it's such a good like it's when you watch a good TV show and everyone in the room has got this kind of political tie while they know they want each other to get each other, but they can't. Do you know what I mean? And you're just waiting for the season that they do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That kind of
Yeah.
it's so good in that sense. So yeah, I totally agree. Well, I didn't need to be sold on vampires. Clearly, I've only run into them when I got my ass kicked in a barrel factory, and I was still like, please make me one of you. So
Do it again.
yeah. All right. So last question then, the big one. What's your least favorite enemy in D&D recently?
So I've been lucky that I got this question twice. So I got to think about this one a little bit
Rats.
further. Yeah, yeah. And this is from recent experience. I cannot stand corruption devils.
Oh, okay. All
They're
right.
not very common. They're not very, but we're in the Nine Hells with my regular party at the moment. And corruption devils have this awful habit. They can basically charm and beguile the whole party.
Right.
And we just only have, like a lot of parties, one strong charisma guy.
Mm.
So everybody else is just failing. And then me as a DM, I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
you're all on the devil's side now.
Yeah.
So just a personal gripe from some recent sessions of
Yeah.
mine.
It is. There are creatures like that that don't get good rep or they're not used enough, and it is the mechanic that really makes them. It's not like they got high AC or like low HP or whatever or certain spells. It's the fact that their abilities are like what makes the play. And if you're
Yeah.
used to spending like sessions and sessions of just tit for tat hitting, maybe a bit of kind of tactical going around the back, being stealth, whatnot. But when you come across like where it's literally down to the save you're making, and there isn't a stat in that like adventuring party that can contest it, that's really tough. That's really tough.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? Like as a DM, it's difficult to make that work, you know?
That's it. They're all charmed. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like, oh, you all failed that save. We either you now work for this corruption devil, or we're gonna have to come up with some shenanigans.
yeah. And like never saying no is part of the game, right? And so the chaos of not planning for that almost makes it anyway, doesn't it? Like you're not
Yeah.
expecting it, but it works in your favor really for the players.
They did get out of it in the end. I didn't
Yeah.
allow them to just be slaves to the devil.
Yeah. Oh,
They
that's all
did
right
get out of
then.
it.
All right. Well, okay. Today's adventure has sadly come to a close. We're back in next week with the topic: Does cheese enjoy being eaten? And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join in on the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram at How to Play D&D or check out the link in our bio to join our Discord server. Can you tell us quickly a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So as well as a DM, I am a dice maker. I make handmade dice, and you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Etsy, tabletop curiosities.
Amazing. And all the links, as always, will be in the bio to do so. I've been Connor Kinsey.
And I've been Abby.
Good day.